What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. I am Nastya if you do not know me, and today we are going to be back with a little bit of an interesting video. You might have already seen my unboxing video that I did a couple of weeks ago, and I know that is not necessarily the most entertaining part of a tattoo journey, but it's definitely the start. And like I said, I am going to be filming this just for myself as well, so I can look back and be like, oh, what a noob she was at one point. But the video that I'm going to be showing you guys is actually my first week tattooing. So you're going to see about 3 different pieces that I've done throughout that week to kind of get used to the machine, get used to my setup, understand, you know, if I'm actually cut out for doing this, even though I've already bought everything that I need. So I kind of did it the wrong way around, but it's fine. I know you haven't seen anything yet, but please, if you can, leave a like, share the video, subscribe, click the notification bell so you know when I upload next, especially when it comes to more tattoo content. But if you are someone who has subscribed and you don't want to see my tattoo content, I will still be uploading my usual art content with different pieces, paintings, stitching, so do not worry, the channel is still going to be the same, just with an added segment, let's say. But otherwise, let's go and see what's up. So I have watched quite a few videos on this to make sure that I get this correct, because obviously you need to start the habits early on. So the first thing that I am going to do is actually wipe down my desk. That's nice and clean. We're going to be moving on to the next bit, which is going to be cling filming. This is a massive cling fill. Regular ones are maybe like half the size and thinner. Oh, I did actually hear them say that you should spray water on the table, so let me do that. Oh, okay. Now, with tattooing, even when you're doing it on second skin, it's constantly recommended that you get some gloves on because, you know, you're trying to get into the habit, the practice of it. So I'm just going to put my gloves on now. And the next thing that I'm going to be putting down is this. What I'm learning already is if you have an itch on your face, good luck, because you can't scratch it with your gloves on. I think this piece might be quite a good piece to start off with. So there's my skin. The bag smells like crap, by the way. Silicone, I hate it. I hate the smell of it. So now I'm just going to take one cartridge out. I don't know if you can see that, an 05. I've watched a lot of videos on people wrapping their machines, and I don't have any of the medical wrap right now. I need to buy that, so I am just going to go for some cling film and wrap the machine as best as I can. I'm going to do a little bit different because I want to keep the ability to twist this without jeopardizing it by wrapping it fully, and I also want a bigger grip because I've heard that that is better. Now, this is the first time I'm using it, so I really don't know what I prefer when it comes to grip. Okay, so it's working. We have a machine. That's a win. It looks kind of cute though. Okay, anyway. Let's just, I guess, get going with this. I hope you don't have to press too hard. Oh, I should have stuck it down, shouldn't I?
One eternity later.
So let's see how if that worked. Oh. Not very well, really. Oh, that's so annoying. We're gonna try again, and this time I've picked a thinner biro so that I can get maybe more precise lines. This is my practice sheet. I have some circles, some curves, some straight lines, and obviously I have my piece that I would like to be able to do by the end of this session. Now I'm gonna practice putting on the stencil. And this is where everything seemed to fall apart. Before this, I was like, wow, this is so easy. The setup is so calm. Yeah, stenciling sucks, or at least it does on a fake skin. I tried it on my skin after this because I was like, am I just stupid? Do I just not understand how to use all these bits of equipment? And no, it worked completely fine on my skin. I still might have put a little bit too much of the liquid on my arm, but regardless, it came on to my skin very easily and stayed on there very nicely. But this, it was like I put too much and the ink stayed on the top, and then if I put too little, it literally didn't even get on there and it rubbed off instantly. I ended up rubbing everything off because it was coming off anyway and I wanted to tattoo that day. But this was before I even looked it up online that people recommend using speed stick instead of stenciling liquid. In the end, before I even saw that, I went in with a biro and a Sharpie thinking like a Sharpie will 100% work, but it didn't work either. Another thing is that for a video where I'm trying to show you how well I'm tattooing or how not well I'm tattooing, my head covered everything. This is a constant issue of mine. I'm like, my head surely cannot be covering it, and it covers the whole damn frame. So a lot of it I can't even show you because it's literally just my head. But what I can show you is the few bits and bobs here, and then later on I clocked that the angle needed to be different, and you'll see a better angle of the more important things that I was tattooing rather than just lines and circles. So this is what I've managed to do so far. The lines are not the straightest, but I don't think they're terrible for the first time at all. Now, another thing that I also just wanted to quickly try was shading. I find the shading a lot easier than the lines. Which I think is really surprising because when I first started this, I thought I would only really want to do line work. So I might actually use one of these circles to try shade. Okay, I think it's time to observe what we've done here. For a first time in shading, no, I could make it even better. What excuse am I going to come up with to say it's not me, but it's the machine, huh? What excuse am I going to come up with?
Thousands of tears later.
After literally messing about for ages, I've done so many tiny little stencils. I have finally gotten an effing stencil that I can use. Why it worked, I think, is because everyone online was being like, oh, I use talc. I thought I had talc, but I think the one time I finally needed it, I threw it away. But I have chalk from the gym. So I just use chalk because chalk and talc basically do the same thing. So here I am. Hopefully within the next 10 minutes I can tattoo this because I just want to try do something other than lines. Just to sort of be able to do this for tomorrow, I'm going to try stencil this so that it's nice to dry for tomorrow for me to tattoo. So we will do this tomorrow.
The next day.
Having a design that I was actually working towards to finish did give me a bit more confidence to get the lines straighter, and especially because this is my national symbol, I really had to get it correct, so I had some pressure there. I had the problem that the stencil was going away too quickly, and now it's going nowhere. So note to self, prep your designs early. I'm like not gonna lie, I feel like that is really good. Like gone from one session to that, I'm pretty happy. And moving on swiftly to the next day, I'm gonna start tattooing, finally start tattooing that face that I wanted to do for a while. I'm just re-prepping my machine again because I realized my grip was not thick enough, and just gonna witness my crusty, dusty, fat head in the way of everything that you want to actually see. And I do apologize profusely for it, I hate myself too. But I will say what I did notice about doing this actual piece is that really long lines are hard to do, especially the curved ones. Or at least it is on this flat surface to get your wrist to curve correctly. It might be easier on a person, but I really did struggle with that. This is where we're at right now. I'm not gonna lie, now that I've gotten a bit used to the machine, the packing down here came out way better than the packing up top. So I'm very happy with that. The only thing that I want to do is I want to remove this stencil. So I'm gonna figure out how to do that because I have tried to wipe it away like crazy and it will not go. So I'm gonna have a couple of goes on that. And the other thing I've definitely learned is that I'm gonna be getting smaller gloves, okay? These, I got mediums because I thought I had some fat hands, but nope. I need to get some smalls. To remove the stencil, I've put some bleach water. I think it's definitely working. The stencil is being removed. So I think this is quite a good hack. And this is just very slowly coming off. I've left this for about 30 minutes now and most of it is off. I'll leave it for a bit longer and see how it goes.
Many unbearable hours later.
This is my new set. The stenciling, I still need work with. That's just an obvious thing. This is only like my third time stenciling anyway, so still quite happy with it. It's better than the first couple of times, so I'll take it. I just took off my old one that I was using. I used it for a couple of rounds just to get good use out of it. So I'm going for a thicker needle set. This is a 1209 RL, if you can see that. But I do just want to see what the thicker lines would look like, because I think with this sort of piece it could work really well. And this has a lot more heavy black in it than this design. This was more line work. So actually, let me show you what I meant with the jug. So I'm just gonna probably prop it on like that and just start tattooing to get some curvature, to understand how it works on a body part rather than just a flat surface. And I do find that on the flat surface my machine vibrates a lot and bounces off, so I think that's going to help to counteract that a little bit. I have an hour and 10 minutes to do this. So let's bang this out. I think a little nervous, but I have learned that from now on I'm not putting my ink cap across my work. I'm right-handed, so that was a bit stupid of me. I'm going to pop it on this side. And just a quick mention on the machine. So like I said, I've been using the Mast Archer. I haven't charged it out of the box at all, and it was charged 100%. I've used it for probably a collective time of maybe like 4 hours, and it's on 66%, which I think is really impressive for a small pen machine like this. I really didn't anticipate the battery life being that long. Enough fussing about the machine, let's actually talk about what I'm doing in front of us. And what I am tattooing and what I've done a couple renditions of in this video are all faces and patterns that I'd done ages ago, and I thought would just be a really cute tattoo design to practice with and have a go with. But they are a little bit different. One is more line work based and this one is a little more black work. I know drills are important and it's important to do a lot of the basics, but I did just want to see where I was at in my most basic form without practicing or doing too much. And I will say I felt a lot more comfortable doing the piece than when I was doing the straight lines and circular drills, because I think when you're doing those drills you're thinking too hard about them, but here you're thinking about making it look nice. Now, in saying that, I think it is easy to forget that this eventually is something that I will be doing on a real person, and when I'm doing this, I'm just thinking of how to make it look good, regardless of obviously pain or, you know, irritating the skin a lot. And I think that comes into play obviously when you start practicing on a person. And thankfully I already have my first victim, or guinea pig as I would like to call them, in the lineup to get tattooed by me when I feel confident enough to move on to skin. But for now, with the fake skin, I will just be focusing on the angles and the depth. So that is what we're looking at right now.
The next day.
I want to say this was an interesting detour, but I don't think this counts as a detour because it is just practice. I decided that I wanted to fully color in one of the faces that I did without researching on how to pack on fake skin. Why did I want to pack it with color? Well, because in my original sketches these faces were color blocked in a singular color, and I wanted to do that with this tattoo as well, and it was an excuse to practice it. But I did learn the hard way that with fake skin the color doesn't absorb the way it does in real skin, where you can then put a color over like your black lines and your black lines are not going to get affected. On fake skin it just mashes up altogether. So my red did not come out cleanly. It kept mixing with the black. So it was really patchy and a lot darker than I wanted it to be. And at one point I was just going to leave it half colored in because I felt super defeated. And then when I read up on the fact that that's normal for fake skin and not a lot of people practice packing color on fake skin, I was like, okay, makes more sense. Let me finish it anyway. See if I can somehow prevent it or make it look decent, because at the end of the day it's still practice. So what I did end up doing here at the end, at the very end, was I put a little Vaseline on the top and then tattooed over, but it did mean that my needles got a lot gunkier a lot faster.
Later, in the void.
And the final thing that we're going to be looking at today is the third face that I did. Now this face is a little combination of more line work like the first and then a lot more black work like the second, somewhere in the middle between those two, and I think this one definitely came out the best out of the three because obviously I had a couple of practices in, my hand got a bit steadier, I understood depth a lot more, and I will also say I really do love my jug technique. But I think the next time I am going to try find a way or to use something where there isn't a lip to hold on to, because I did find with the jug I was holding on to that inner bit to give myself leverage, and obviously I cannot shove my hand inside of an arm or inside of a leg when I'm actually going to be tattooing on someone, so I need to get a bit more used to leveraging off of an actual body rather than, you know, a plastic jug that has a lip on it. I will say, whilst tattooing, I finally understood how blowout happens. Now, everyone talks about blowout and it's something that we all know, at least people who get tattooed know, but actually tattooing onto fake skin and going really deep and seeing the blowout happen, it makes so much more sense. And then vice versa, when you go too shallow and no ink penetrates and stays in there, fake skin really gave me that perspective to understand how it works on regular skin. And I know that regular skin is more absorbent and there's a lot of other factors in it, but it's still really interesting. For me, making these videos is just a way for me to record my progress and see where I started from, and in the future to see where I'm at and how much I've come from that beginning point. But I also want the main takeaway to be for people to see a realistic struggle in learning a new skill. Like, obviously I'm an artist, I can draw, I can do a lot of things, but just because I can draw and just because I can do those things doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be good at this straight away. I still think that for someone who's picked it up quite randomly and only done it for a couple of hours, I've done quite well. But there's also a lot of struggle and a lot of things that I didn't know. Now, whether that's on me because I didn't watch enough stuff or do enough research, but I still think that no matter how well prepared you think you are, you still are going to be making mistakes. And I hope that comes through in this video. And I hope that it was an enjoyable process to see those mistakes and then to see when I've actually made something that was what I would consider good. Before we take a look at all three of the pieces together, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you know when I'm posting another video to do with tattooing or another random video to do with art, whatever floats your boat. I have playlists for all of those. Check me out on TikTok and on Instagram and my website. They are all with Nice to Shortka. But with that said, let's look at the three pieces. First being done with a 5 and the last two being done with a 9.